Hey guys, my name is Jessica Petty. Thanks for watching today. I'm going to talk today about lessons from Gary. And when I think about Gary Young, to be honest, I start to get teary. It's like I knew Gary, but I didn't know Gary. Like I met Gary many times. I listened to him talk live. I even had lunch with him one time in a small group. And I've had photos taken with him, but I've listened to him speak. Hi, how are you doing, Karen? I've listened to him speak for hours and hours and hours, and I'm going to share with you some of the resources that I've listened to Gary from. And I know that, Karen, you listen to him with me. You jump on the calls and you want to hear Gary talk. So you know how I feel. There is something very, very special about Gary Young. And if you didn't know him, or if you never attended convention, hear him speak or anything, you're just kind of listening to me talk about Gary, you might see things on the internet, people talking badly about him. Those are people who didn't know him. Gary Young was someone who truly, truly cared about people, not himself. He'd love to do adventures and things and go do crazy stuff, but he really and truly cared about people. And anyone who really knew him will tell you that when he was talking to you, it's like you were the only person that existed in the world. He was completely and totally focused on you and your needs and who you were. And that is just really unique for a human being. And Gary's story, let me give you a little bit of background on Gary Young if you don't know who he is. So here's Mary's book about Gary, D. Gary Young, the world leader in essential oils. But what happened to Gary when he was young, oh, I got some stuff on this book, hold on. What happened to Gary when he was young was that he had a logging accident in his 20s. He was in Canada, he owned a logging farm there, and he broke his back. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the picture. He broke his back, and, oh, that's not the picture, let's see. You can see a picture here of his spine. And they thought he was gonna die. The tree that fell on him landed on his head and on his spine and broke his spine. And it took him a long time to recover physically and emotionally. So much so, the doctors told him he'd never walk again, and he tried to commit suicide 3 times. And so from someone who tried to commit suicide 3 times to valuing life, every moment of life so profoundly, like what happened in there. And that to me is like one of the most curious things to me about Gary Young. What happened in that time, in those years, to go from wanting to die to living life to the absolute fullest, that you just think every single moment of your life is a gift. I mean, you can see these pictures. This is in the last pages of these things, like so many of the things that Gary Young did in his life, being a scientist, being like just a rancher, being a farmer, being an outdoorsman, being a bodybuilder, like so many things that Gary Young, hey Wendy, hey Robin, so many things that Gary did to just live life to the absolute fullest, help as many people as he wanted to. And I was just listening to a talk from him this morning. If you ever want to hear Gary talk, I do these calls on Sunday nights now. I'm broadcasting Gary's talks into Spruce Society, so you can listen to them, or you can just go listen to the recordings. But you can also just go on YouTube and type in Gary Young and look for talks by Gary. There's talks in there that you can just listen to his voice and feel his passion. And I do that a lot. I love to listen to Gary because it just reminds me of the type of person that I want to be. It reminds me of my mission. It reminds me why I keep going. And, why was I talking about this? But Gary was just talking about how there's a difference between excitement and passion. People would say, well, aren't you excited about the growth of the company? Aren't you excited about this and that? And he's like, yeah, but excitement can kind of come and go because your body, your brain can't maintain excitement all the time. But what you can maintain is passion. And that's what Gary said. You can maintain passion, that burning feeling in your heart, in your chest, about your purpose in life, what you're doing. And I know that's true because that's been true for me since I started this business in 2013. It's now 12 years later. And I still wake up every day with that passion to share these products, to share the message of Young Living, to share about essential oils and how amazing they are. Because I feel like what the oils really do is that they wake us up to like the truth of who we are, of what we're doing here. Like they wake up the cells in our body, they wake up the neurons in our brains to that truth of that purpose, of that driving passion, and not just that we're like, I don't know, robots walking around not like having a purpose and meaning, that we have very important work here to do, and that we are here for a very important reason. And everybody has to kind of find that reason for yourself. And it's like, I just know that one of the reasons I'm here, one of the burning reasons I'm here, is to share this message about these oils, to tell people, simply put them on your body every day. Put them on your body, put them in your diffusers, have them going in your house so that you breathe these special molecules in from the plants of the earth, so we don't lose that connection to nature, which is paramount to who we are and as creative living beings on this planet. So that's like my purpose, and that's what like listening to Gary fuels that for me to want to keep going. So lessons from Gary. If you want to learn, if you want to hear from Gary, I think I feel like I should like start like recording some of the YouTube videos and just putting them in Spruce, because I want people to hear them, because I know everybody's not going to go seek them out and find them. But that's why I'm sharing the recordings of Gary. It's like I just want people to hear Gary's words as much as mine. In fact, today when I was listening to Gary's words, I'm like, well, why should I even talk? I should just put Gary on. But I know it's important for you to hear my testimony of listening to Gary. And like, who was Gary? He was just a regular person. He's not, but he tapped into something that was vital for this life. Like I was saying, going from suicidal to going to someone who lived life to the fullest and wanted to help every single person he possibly could. Like, why did he go on all these trips to discover how to make essential oils and how to grow them and how to plant them and to learn more and everything he possibly could? Why? I feel like Gary, and if you read this book, the New Essential Oils Reference Legacy Guide, let's see, I'm sorry, it's blurry, here we go. The new one that you can buy on seedsoftime, I think, .com. Get this book, because in this book, he talks about that transition, what happened between those two things, how he was given very special spiritual experiences to give him that life force to come back, even though he had pain every moment of every day for his like entire life because of his accident, to come back and just turn that pain off so he could get to work and build the company that he built for Young Living. And he talked about how when he first was building the company, so many people told him, this is never gonna work, this has never been done before, essential oils, that's a crazy business. Like, he heard that over and over and over and over. And he said he just had to learn to tune those voices out because he knew they were wrong. Even when finances, his checkbook was telling him they were right, he still had to turn that off and believe that was wrong, and that he had to keep going. And he would go and fulfill the orders. He would clean everything himself. Hey, Kelowna. He would take care of everything. And then he would go out on the weekends and he would travel around the country. He would fly out to different places and do distributor meetings and teach about the products. And that's just he had this perseverance, this drive to keep going, to keep going, to keep going. And it's very exciting. And a lot of those types of stories you can learn if you start reading in this book about Gary, about how he felt like he was drawn to not only build this company, but start the farms too. Like building a farm, I've never built a farm. I don't even have planters in my backyard. But to build a farm is so much work, especially a farm with no chemicals, and having the standards that he wanted to have, and having the knowledge that he needed to do to know when to harvest things and where to harvest things and which plants, and keep trying things over and over to see how they could work. But he did. He pushed through all of his pain, his physical pain, which was extreme, and focused on the goal, which was bringing these essential oils to every person in the world. That was his goal. And that goal, even though he's gone now, he's been gone since 2018, is still going, but it's going through us. Like, I feel that still, that burning passion in myself to keep sharing about these oils. Hey, Nikki. So if you want to learn more about Gary, like, here's some of his books. Mary wrote this book, but Gary approved it. Like, he read it all and he helped edit it, and before he passed away. So that book is by Gary. This book, Essential Oils, Integrative Medical Guide. If you want to learn a lot of things that are in the desk reference also, but like, Gary wrote this book. It's pretty thick about the oils and how they work. So like, this is a great book to get. This book is called The One Gift. It's a fictional story that Gary wrote, but if you want to get to know Gary better, this is a good book you can read. Some smaller books that you can find, if you go hunting on Amazon, you can find little books like this. It talks about the products. It talks about his story. I like little books like this. This is another little gem, Aromatherapy, The Essential Beginning. Gary wrote a lot of books. I was like, how did Gary start farms and build companies and write books and travel and do all these things? I don't know. I don't know how he had so much time in the day to do all the things that he did. But hi, Diane. Thanks for watching. But Gary was just a very, very special individual. And when you got to talking to him, when I got to talk to him, it was just like I said before, about how he would like focus on you, just you, and like, what do you need? What is the information that you're looking for, or how can he help you? And he was just very good at being with people and wanting to help them. This is another book that Gary wrote, Shutron, Ancient Apothecary. This one, it kind of goes with The One Gift, but it talks about the oils in The One Gift and how they can help you, especially like oils from the Bible. This is a good book to read. I've gotten some gems out of this one about some of the oils and things, how they can help people. The desk references, I mean, there's like 7 of them besides the legacy guide, but Gary's name isn't on these books, but he wrote these books. So if you want to learn about a lot of the things that Gary knew, and how did he know these things? How did he know like how to blend Aromalife to make it the perfect blend? Like, how many drops of this, and how did he know that? I asked Mary once, I said, in a very small setting, I said, Mary, did Gary like have like special abilities? Could he talk to plants? And she was like, oh yeah. Yeah, like Gary had that ability to talk to plants. So he could ask the plants, what are you for? What are you for? And Gary traveled all around South America and the entire world, but he found like Dorado Azul, and he saw this like, plant on the side of the road, and he was like, what's this plant? And nobody had ever named the plant before. So he named the plant Dorado Azul, and he asked the plant what it was good for, respiratory benefits. And he could talk to the plants and ask them, like, and that's how he formulated the oils, and that's how like everything, he knew that everything is full, like everything on this planet is energy, and the things that are alive, he could communicate with that energy and help to know how it could help us. And for me, knowing that he wasn't just guessing is super wonderful to me, that when I'm using Peace and Calming or Aromaseeds or any oil, that it wasn't just like a guessing game for him, that he was giving divine instruction on how to create these oils and formulate them for the most beneficial benefit for us, that they would help us. And I know that because when I use them, I just put on RC a few minutes ago, and I just like, I don't know, it just like made me feel like expansive. It made my like the spirit I am inside of this body, like come alive and just like feel more attuned to this planet and wanting to have purpose. And like, I think you know what I'm talking about. If you use the oils, you know what I'm talking about, that when you use them, that Gary, he was given divine instruction on creating them. And I love that. I absolutely love that, because I feel like we can have that too, that we can have that divine instruction for the things that we need to know. Like I've had that instruction when it comes to who should I talk to about the oils, or what should I say, or, you know, that person needs this information and I've reached out to them. And sometimes that's not been accurate. You know, sometimes people have kind of shut me down, but I don't know. I just keep, like Gary said, you just keep tuning out the negative voices and keep sharing and keep sharing and keep sharing, because some people are going to be listening. Some people are going to hear your words and go, she's telling the truth. She believes what she's saying. I want to learn more about that, because it is true. We know that these oils, they're just pure plants. How can they not be true? That the pure plants that were put on this earth for us to eat, for us to put on our bodies, for us to smell, for us to breathe, are for our benefit, that they are for our use. And if our body doesn't need them, they'll flush them out. Another great resource that I talked about is these CDs. And I play these CDs now. I used to do it last year. I did it in a private group, but I just want you guys to listen to them. I want you to hear Gary's voice. So I'm playing them on Sunday nights. I'll just play them and you can listen to them. It's just Gary talking. If you're busy, you can listen to him later. I just thought that was a good kind of quiet time when people are having, you know, quiet time, and they can listen to something that will help them, that will give them benefit. And if you want to get these CDs, I think it's Trax Teams, TRAXTEAMS.com. I don't know if they still sell them, but if you can order them, or like I said, you can just go on YouTube and type in Gary's name, or go in our groups, and some of us have recorded talks from Gary. Just type in his name and start flipping through, and you can listen to Gary talk about life, about passion, about his stories. I was just listening to John Wetton talk. John Wetton, he was Gary's photographer and videographer for years and years and years, and he traveled with him all over. And just listening to John talk about his experiences with Gary is so cool, to just hear him tell the stories about how he ended up being his photographer. And this is on YouTube, by the way. If you want to watch this video, you can just type in Gary Young and look until you see a video by John Wetton, and he talks about the story of Gary. But how Gary he wasn't afraid to break things, is what John said. He wasn't afraid to try things, go for risks. He said there's a fine line between risky and reckless. And Gary walked that line pretty closely. He wasn't afraid to break things, because it was like, that's how he was able to get things done, is like taking those risks and keep moving forward, and having, like, putting yourself out there and willing to say, well, this might break, but it might not, it might work. And we're gonna keep trying things, and we're gonna keep moving forward. And whereas reckless is just being like crazy and like doing things that might not end well for you. But I'm a person who likes to take risks. I think that's why I jumped into this business. I used to be a financial planner, and one day I just totally called on my clients and quit and started this business. And it was a big risk. I had to let go of some of my licenses that took me a long time to get and were very hard to get. But I don't know, I was just excited about this business, and I just thought I believed I could do it. And that's what ended up happening. So walking that line between risky and reckless, you know, you got to keep moving forward. You can't be afraid. He said that somebody did a story with people that were elderly, and I said, what do you regret the most? Like, what are some of your regrets? And one of the things that they said is not taking more risks. And so try that thing that you're afraid to do, or step out on that ledge, or talk to that person. Like, you never know where it could lead you. Whereas if you don't try things, it keeps you in this very same place, and you don't have the possible new experiences that you might get from stepping out on that ledge and trying new things. One story that's one of my favorite stories from Gary is about, it has nothing to do with being risky. It was about Melissa oil. And I'll just tell the story because it's just one of my favorite stories. But if you go through the books, like especially the new Legacy edition, you can find so many great stories about Gary. But this is one of my favorite ones. And he said that he had just kind of started to learn about Melissa oil. And he had this dream one night, and this beautiful woman appeared to him in the dream. And she said to him, she said, "I'm all you need." And he said, "Who are you?" And she started to walk away. He's like, "Will you tell me your name?" And she turned around, she said, "My name is Melissa." and then she was gone. And Gary said he had a niece named Melissa. So he called up his sister and he said, is Melissa okay? And she's like, yeah, she's fine. She's in her room. He's like, okay. And then he called France, the farmers in France. He's like, I want you to send me, I think it was like a liter of Melissa or something. And I'm like, well, that would cost more than the plane, because he didn't know how much it cost to have Melissa. He's like, well, just send me a little bit. So they sent him some Melissa, a little bit of Melissa, and he started to experiment with it. And he learned about the very, very powerful effects of Melissa, and how like they can help with Melissa can help with sadness. Melissa can help with your body. I'll let you look up Melissa, and because a lot of things I really can't say in this video, but he learned like how special Melissa was, and Melissa became one of Gary's favorite essential oils. And I remember one time I was at the farm in St. Mary's, and I remember Gary talking about Melissa, and he talked about Melissa and how Melissa's like a very feminine plant, and she doesn't like to get her leaves dirty, and she doesn't like to have anything on the ground. She likes to like wake up in the morning and just be very beautiful. And I don't know, it's like the way that Gary talked about the plants was sometimes how I feel about the plants, that they are just these like our friends, that they are like our friends, that they're here to help us, they're here to benefit us. They want to give us the high frequency, the joy that they are, and to give us that benefit. And here actually my daughter was in a play last night, so we got her a dozen roses for being in the play. And you just smell the plants, you smell the oils. It's like your senses come alive. And they're so beautiful. I mean, look how beautiful these flowers are. And Gary he had this reverence, this respect for the plants. I think because he could literally communicate with them, that gave him this, just this, like trying to communicate to us how wonderful that these plants are, and how wake up in the morning and put the oils on your body. Oh, I was just listening to this talk by Gary, and he was talking about how the Black Spruce Farm, or maybe it was John Wetton telling about Gary, and how he knew he wanted to start the Black Spruce Farm because our supplier for Black Spruce, the farmer, had died. He retired. And suddenly we didn't have Black Spruce, like no Black Spruce. And a lot of our oils went out of stock. And Gary was trying to get this farm built during the winter when the ground was literally frozen up in Canada. And people were just telling Gary, stop, like do it in the summer, wait. And he was like, I can't wait, because I get 100 emails a day asking when Valor's gonna be back in stock. I can't wait, I have to do it now. And I remember one time I was down in at Gold Retreat in Ecuador, and Gary always went on the retreats. Of course, Gary and Mary always went on the retreats for the distributors, but that particular time Gary didn't come. Mary was there, but Gary, and they put him on speakerphone, and he was in Canada and we were in Ecuador, and they blasted his call out so everyone could hear it. And he was telling us, he's like, sometimes I just want to quit because it's so hard. It's so cold up here, and I just want to quit, and I could just go home and sit by the fire and be with my family. He said, but then his family would say to him, Gary, you can't quit. The people need the oils. You can't quit. And when you put on your Valor, or you put on your Northern Lights Black Spruce, or you put on any essential oil, you think about how much work it went in to put that oil in your hands. People talk about the cost and how it's expensive, and I know it's expensive, but you think about like what it took to get that oil into your hands, and the benefits that it's going to give you by breathing it in, by putting it on your body, that the oils go into our cells and they help to repair our cells. If you take a chemistry of essential oil class, you can go to raindroptraining.com and go to one of CARE's workshops and take a chemistry of essential oil class, and you read about how the oils repair our cells and can repair damage and can fix things. And I know that because sometimes I've had a cut or something, and I've put oils on it, and I've literally watched my hand or my my skin repair itself in a short period of time. I can see literally how the oils work to repair our bodies and to help us. And I'm going to get off in a minute because I want you to jump on the what's it called? The call. We have a weekly call with Melissa Kohler for the business training call, the 90-day training call, and it starts in 2 minutes. And if you don't have the link, I'm going to put it right after I jump off. I'll put the link, the Zoom link, in my in the comments of this video, so you can jump on the call because it starts in 1 minute. And I want you to get on it because I want you to be with other people who are trying to build their business, who are trying to share about this message of the oils, creating social media content, creating like ways that they can go out in the community and meet with people and talk with people. And if you want to build this business and you want to have that passion that Gary had to share the oils with other people, I want you to have that community. So I'm going to pop off. I'll put the link in the comments, or you can get in the group, the 90-day business challenge, and it's right there at the top. Normally the call's at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays on Pacific Standard Time, but today it's got moved to 10:30, so it's starting right now, and I want you to jump on it. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.